Hello, welcome back to the Max Out Your Life podcast. Today, I have a special guest with me, Miss Tiffany Cowan.
Special.
Ooh.
Okay.
So Brad is on a hiatus. Actually, he's not. I just wanted to talk with Tiffany, so I gave Brad the day off, and so we get a chance to talk to Tiffany and kind of her journey through fitness, and kind of spill the beans with. You have a very interesting and unique kind of fitness journey, I believe. Well, maybe not when you started, but the fact that you travel so much. So I'm really interested to kind of dig into that. And just like with most of our viewers on here, it's like there's always some reason why they say they can't, and yet you move every 6 months and you still can.
Right.
So this is going to be a really good talk. So stay tuned until the end, and you'll hear a lot of really good stuff. So why don't we kind of start it from the beginning? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and...
Okay, so I'm 39, grew up in Hickory, North Carolina, so I'm a North Carolina girl. I am a nurse anesthetist. I've been
CRNA.
A CRNA, yes. I've been a nurse anesthetist for 13 years and just recently started traveling 3 years ago. So I've been traveling, been a locum or travel CRNA for about 3 years.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
You get to travel, you get to see, you get to meet amazing people like me.
Of course. Of course.
When you first started to say like where you were from, I thought you were about to say, I'm a Leo. I was like, where's she going with this?
I like long walks on the beach.
Oh man, that's awesome. So you were in North Carolina and now you're a nurse. Like, so where did like kind of health and fitness as a whole kind of start for you in your whole life?
I would have to say it was probably shortly after I graduated anesthesia school. I think with school and the stress of school, I had gained a lot of weight. My ex-husband at the time had gained a lot of weight. And just looking at my family and looking at the health of my family and their health history and all of those things, I realized I didn't want that to be my future. And so I knew that health and fitness was going to have to be a part of my life. And of course, that's when I started my fitness journey.
I gotcha. So you said health issues. What health issues was it that your family had?
High blood pressure. My dad died of a stroke from high blood pressure.
Gotcha.
My mom has high blood pressure, high cholesterol. My mother is overweight. You know, just the typical overweight health problems.
Gotcha. A lot of that soul food.
Yes, and she still loves her soul food.
Oh,
She's still fried everything.
Everything, yeah. I remember,
everything.
So like I said before, you know, I grew up in Georgia, and it's very much, I thought that's just how cuisine was until I moved out of the South, and I was like, oh, dang, you don't have to fry.
There's baked chicken?
Like, you don't have, exactly. Yeah. Like, what is this?
What?
Even like macaroni and cheese, like, you got that baked layer on top.
Yes, yes.
So you went through anesthesia school, right? Nursing and then anesthesia school.
Correct.
Is that how that works? Okay.
Yes.
So you got out and then you're like, all right, cool. I gotta do something. Like roughly, like how much weight did you gain before school to when you had graduated?
Probably about 20 pounds at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, about 20 pounds, and I knew that I wasn't self-motivated.
I mean, you are. Because I know you.
I mean, yes.
Maybe in fitness. Maybe that's a better way to word that.
That's correct.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't self-motivated in fitness.
Yeah.
And so I reached out in thoughts of getting a personal trainer. So that was how I first started my actual fitness journey. And of course, before that, I would exercise here and there. You know, everybody, you know, it's like, I'll go for a walk. Oh, I might go to the gym, try something. You know, I had gym memberships and things like that. Took some cycling classes, took some body pump classes, that sort of thing.
Okay, but nothing like consistent.
Correct.
I guess, until after school.
Until after school.
Gotcha. And so, what helped you? Well, with that first coach that you first started working with, what was that kind of experience like overall?
It was definitely difficult. I remember, I'm a little stubborn.
What?
I'm a little stubborn.
Huh. This is news to me. I had no idea.
Of course. And so I just remember it different. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. But I liked the way he pushed me past the limits that I ever thought I'd be able to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that his first introduction to having a personal trainer was probably the reason why I continue to work out with personal trainers.
Awesome. So the different. So explain a little bit about your experience, the difference between doing you said body pump. Is that what it was?
Correct.
So you did like body pump and running and the little spin classes, and then you got a trainer. Like, what was the real, like the big difference? You're like, besides the being able to be pushed, what was like the reason to, okay, I need to stick with a trainer? That was awesome.
Well, even with like body pump classes or different classes, I think I even told you sometimes, you have those moments where you're just not feeling it or you're not into it. And
you can kind of sit in the corner.
You can sit in the corner and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to, I'm here. I'm at least doing something, right? And you don't actually push yourself. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to get the 10s today. I'm going to do 10 pounds or, and with that personal trainer, he's like, I know you're stronger than this.
Yep.
I know your strength. I've sitting here, been watching you. You can go harder than that. And so just having that accountability, having that person that's like, yeah, that cheerleader as well, just cheering you on and saying, hey, I know you can do it. It was a big deal for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we hear that actually with a lot of the clients that we work with. It's like education is never the problem. It's like staying on track, and I guess you could say like application of the education, right? And when you know someone's waiting for you at whatever time, 5:23 for us, you're like, oh, dang, I guess I gotta be there.
I gotta be there. I'll be there. Gosh.
Yeah.
And I have had as I've come in and I've had my moments where I don't feel like it or I don't feel motivated, and then once you motivate me and I get into the workout and I feel so good afterwards.
Yeah, like that win you had from last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a
did I tell you
win.
I got a video of that?
Yeah, you got to send it to me.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah.
I'm posting it, I think, like next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you'll see it, but I can also send it to you too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started working with that first trainer. You'd been out of school. You just basically got out of school. So at this point, that was 13 years ago.
Correct.
So what did fitness look like in those years after you got started, before you started traveling?
Well, it's been on and off. I mean, that's the thing about fitness. Sometimes I think life happens and fitness can go by the wayside. It's one of those things where when people choose, especially mental things happen or family things happen. So I've been issues where I went through a divorce and went through breakup and had, empty nesting and different life things that have happened. I would say that I haven't been consistent all 13 years.
Yep.
But I've made a pact to be consistent in the last 6.
Okay. So how come? What happened in the last 6 years to really, okay, I can't be messing around anymore. I got to really do this thing.
So it was one of those things where I just realized, like, there was one last time where of course, I'd been yo-yoing up, down on my weight. And I was finally went through a moment where I was just really depressed and I had let myself go, hadn't worked out in a year. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, you know what? The biggest investment that I can make is an investment in myself.
Yeah.
And if my health is not right, if I'm feeling crappy, if I can't, if my fitness is off, I know that I feel horrible. And it was just a life choice that I was like, you know what, if I have time to watch TV, if I have time to do other things that I invest time into, I have time to invest in myself, because that is the most important thing. And so is really what changed for me, is saying, you know what, Tiffany, always make time to invest in yourself no matter what. And especially physically, but that also pertains to mentally and,
oh, for sure,
and emotionally and spiritually and all those other things as well.
Yeah. So what would you say? So you said about 6 years ago at this point, and you started getting going and you were finally able to stay with it. Was that easy? Like, let me rephrase that. Was it as hard as when you first started right after anesthesia school? Now that, because you were being committed, was that a different kind of difficulty or a challenge, or how would you describe that?
I think as I became more consistent, it became easier.
Gotcha. So in the beginning, it was probably a little harder.
Correct.
Yeah.
But as I became more consistent with workouts, with saying, hey, I'm going to invest in myself and pushing myself, it became easier. So as long as I stuck with it, it became easier. And even now, it's much easier than it was when I first started 6 years ago, being consistent.
Gotcha. Yeah. So was it more of a, like, what was able to help you stay consistent then? Because, like, yeah, that's great you're working with the trainer, but just working with the trainer is not going to do it, right?
Correct.
Like, there's got to be something else that was like that driver of like, okay, because of this, I'm able to be more consistent and stick to it.
Well, I think my biggest motivation is I love to eat. We talk about food all the time.
Yeah, we talk about food all the time.
Like, we talk about food all the time.
The first time I met you, I was like, hey, have you been to? And started like rattling off all these places.
Right. And a lot of times people are like, so what are your hobbies? And I'm like, food. Food is my hobby. So that's probably one of my biggest motivations. Is that
you could be a foodie.
Yes.
You could start a food blog.
I really could.
You really could with all the traveling you do.
know.
Oh my gosh, we just came up with an amazing idea.
I really could, because
Okay,
I try restaurants wherever I
y'all
go.
are evident of that. I just gave her that idea. So as soon as this becomes $1 billion company, I want my 10%.
So that's probably like my biggest motivation is I like to eat. And so therefore I know in order to eat, I need to work out so I don't feel so guilty about eating.
Okay.
Number 2 is I like to feel good. Working out makes me feel good. So it's always made me feel better. It's always made me emotionally better. When I first started here, I was having issues with anxiety. And even when I came in with my anxiety, like during my workouts, I was feeling better. After my workouts, I was feeling better.
Yeah.
And so I've always said it's definitely been a major component in my mental health. And then also, I like to look good too. I've always said, nothing tastes better. What is the saying? Nothing tastes as good as looking healthy and feeling fit feels. I don't know. So I like to look good. Like, who doesn't? So I would say those are my big motivating factors.
I gotcha. And so you're getting going, you start traveling, and then we actually meet. So you're here in Kansas, and what was it that made you reach out to us?
I believe I saw an ad on Facebook, and then also whenever I Googled you guys, I ended up seeing a Google ad. I initially tried another trainer before you here in town, and just was not, I don't think his goals matched my goals, and so therefore I decided to move on.
Didn't work out.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. And I always say personal training is like dating. Like, especially finding a personal trainer, it's like dating. Like, not everybody's going to work out. And so, you have goals, you have fitness goals, you have things you want to do. And so you have to find someone that actually aligns with that. And so that's how I found you, and we reached out. And whenever we first talked, I loved, I came in, I was talking about my knee problems. And instead of saying, okay, well, we can work around that, you offered a solution.
Yeah.
And that's what really attracted me to your program, is saying, oh, I have a solution for that.
Yeah.
Not, okay, we'll work around it.
Yep.
No.
Because how long you had that knee pain? I don't even remember.
Probably 7-8 years. Yeah.
Before that. And I remember that you had said that you had never worked out without a knee brace.
Correct.
And I smiled really big because it's like, we're going to be able to get rid of that thing.
And I was like,
yeah, okay, ha ha ha, you're
okay,
funny.
You're funny.
I mean, I am funny. We all know that, how funny I really am.
Mm-hmm.
I was being serious.
Yeah. And I didn't
Do you remember our first session?
I do.
You go out, you're getting ready, and you come back in the room, and you have your knee sleeve on. I say, oh no, you can, or brace, not a sleeve.
Yes,
it was a brace. It was like an actual brace. And I said, oh, no, you can take that off. We're not going to need that anymore. And your eyes got really big. And you didn't really know me yet. You just knew that I told you we're going to fix this kind of thing. And you're like, okay, I've never worked out without it. I was like, oh, don't worry. We'll start slow. And then what was it? Probably 3-4 weeks had gone by. Knee pain was pretty much gone. Right. Needed the knee brace.
Yeah.
Much more confident about doing it without the knee brace.
Yes.
And here we are, I kind of lost track now, 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah, we're about 5 months in.
About 5 months?
Yeah.
No need for the knee brace. You squat, you lunge, you
I know.
go upstairs,
I haven't done lunges in I don't know how long.
we do reverse lunges with the weights.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying I hadn't done.
Oh, well, before that.
Before
Oh,
that.
gotcha.
Every trainer that I had, I'd say I can't do lunges,
And they just let you get away
and
with
they
it.
just let me get away with it.
Not me, baby. It's not how we roll.
I was like, I don't do lunges. They're just too hard on my knees. I don't do lunges, and they would be like, okay. And so, I mean, I just didn't do lunges because I injured my knee. Like, I felt like I injured my knee doing lunges.
Yeah.
So, like, I had post-traumatic stress disorder from lunges.
I mean, we have a lot of people that have that if they do like box jumps.
Yeah.
Where they hit their shin once and they're like, no, I don't want to do those again.
Yeah,
So
and
I totally
just
get that.
did what's the 80 pounds of,
What was that?
because I did 40s.
On the walking
of the
lunges.
walking lunges, yeah.
You did 10 reps, so you did 5 on each leg for 4 sets with 40-pound dumbbells in each hand. So
Right,
80 pounds in total, yeah.
And
And
if
just
you-
5 months ago, you couldn't
Right.
lunge with your body weight without your brace.
Correct.
And
if you
barely
would-
and barely with your brace. Like you
Right.
were so nervous.
I was.
I remember that too. Like we did a lot of like step ups and lateral step ups and the step overs and really
Right.
worked on just slowing down. We did a lot of tempo work and we just
Because I didn't trust my knees.
Yeah.
I didn't trust it. I was like, oh, I just
and in
don't-
your particular
yeah.
case it was tendons. It
Right.
wasn't a muscle
Yes,
thing. It was a
correct.
tendon thing. So
Yes.
when we actually strengthened the tendon themselves, all of a sudden, and at the same time we're getting stronger, it was like this bang bang. And then it was right after you came back from your ski school dropout. We were basically done with the knee thing, and you haven't had any limitations since.
Right. Yeah, and you've pushed me far past what I would ever have imagined that I'd go with my knees.
Oh, that's awesome. I really love hearing that.
Yes, I would never have thought that I'd be doing 40-pound dumbbell walking lunges.
And loving them. Note that she loved them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really been awesome to be able to train you. I'm very sad you're leaving next week.
I know.
It has been nice.
Know. It's been a pleasure as well. Like, I really, not only have you been a great trainer, but you've been a great friend. I feel like we have therapy sessions as well.
Yeah, I would
I'm
say
sure
so.
you'll send me an invoice eventually.
So throughout this whole time, you obviously been traveling, you said for 3 years from now, right?
Correct.
So how did fitness, because obviously you're working with a different trainer, you're going to a new city, but what was the same at each place you went? What kept you like, I'm moving to a new place, I got to go and stay fit. I'm moving to this place now, okay, I may not know anybody, but I still need to go like focus on my fitness. Like, what was the main common denominator between all of those places?
Do you mean like the trainers or
Sure, just like anything. Was it just like, it was a rule you set for yourself? Like, I got to go. Was it a, I don't want to backslide? Like, what was like the one thing that was the same, like everywhere you went?
So I think it's definitely, I didn't want to backslide, and I've just made it a requirement of myself.
Gotcha.
Definitely a requirement. So everywhere I go, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a personal trainer. It's just a common thing. Like, it's one of those things where everybody's like, oh, okay, there's certain people that are like, I'm high maintenance anyways. I'm a high maintenance woman. I'm bougie. I'm definitely bougie. We talk about it all the time. He's like, how are you going to lift weight with all those nails? But there's certain people that they get their hair done, or they get their nails done, or they have maintenance items that they get haircuts ever so often. And so I've just made it a requirement for my maintenance.
I got you. So you just included that, basically your self-care plan. You're
correct.
I'm still going to get my nails done, but I'm also got to make sure I take care of my mind.
Exactly. I've got to take care of my mind. I've got to take care of my body. It is a requirement of me.
Yeah.
For me. And so it's always just been a requirement wherever I go, to choose me first.
Yeah. I think that's huge. I mean, just to piggyback on top of that, like you'd mentioned earlier, when we first started, maybe not right away when we started training, but there in the beginning, you were having a lot of those anxiety issues, and we talked about that a lot during our sessions. And then for you to, on your own, be able to say, like, you know what, I think I'm going to take 2 months off before my next assignment to go off. That was huge for me, for us to be able to kind of have that breakthrough moment of like, okay, just like working out and taking care of myself, I think I need to also take some time with like being back home with your son and being home with your family. And
yeah,
do you want
definitely.
Do you want to mention him?
Yeah, my son.
No, the other one.
Oh, sure.
And then, we can spend more time with KD.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
I don't know if you want to put him on blast. What's up, dude? Yeah, and I think that's huge. And while, maybe not everyone can take 2 months off of their job, the importance of what you did was recognize that I need to do something for me, and then you kind of just stuck to it. And I think that's huge inspiration for a lot of people who can say, well, the kids have got sports and we're at the ball field 3-4 times a week, or my husband or my wife travels out of town for most of the time, so I have the kids all the time. It's like there's always going to be a reason and something that can stand in your way. Right.
Always.
Like there always is. And
always.
Even if it's like you were able to find a trainer, but even if you can't find a trainer, just get out and go walk. Like
always. Google
is free.
Yes.
So are we. Like we have a lot of free information and resources that we put out there, not only on our my personal Facebook page and our company Facebook page, but also have a free Facebook group where we do like weekly trainings, and I got a bunch of ebooks and resources, and like information is out there. People just need to go out and get it. And I think that's huge for you to be able to tell that side of that, of like you move every 6 months.
Yeah. And that's one of the ways I do start is I start off by walking.
Yeah.
Like, I love being out in nature, and especially when it's maybe not today in 104-degree weather, but whenever I go to a new place, I do Google and find walking trails that,
There's a really awesome app. It's called like Hiking Trail or Hike Trail. Have you heard of that one? Okay.
I do have
I didn't find out about it until last year.
Trails.
I think
trails,
that's it. Yeah, I think you're right. We went to Colorado last year, and I was like, where do we go to hike around here? I was like, I wonder if there's an app for that. And sure enough, you pop in the city, and it gives like difficulty levels, and people can leave reviews. And that's how we picked the hike we did, because they're like, it's really good if you have kids. And obviously we have 2 young kids. I mean, the one went in the backpack, but it was a really good app. Have you used it here in Topeka?
Yeah.
Oh, does it really?
I
Actually, I've never done that. I want to go check that out now.
Yeah, there's several here, several hiking trails that you probably don't even know about.
Probably. Yeah, for sure. So if you're sitting here talking to somebody and they were like, Tiffany, I love your story. That sounds great, but my life is different. I can't get started. What would you say to them?
There's always going to be a but. There's always going to be a but. You've got to eliminate the but. You've got to be like, my life is different, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You adjust. And I've found that in life with everything. Like, we can have an excuse to wait to do everything if we want to.
If you really wanted to.
If you really wanted to. But the time is now, and it's always now. And like I said, the biggest investment you can make in life is an investment in yourself.
Amen. Absolutely.
An investment in yourself. And fitness is one of them. And it's so connected to everything. It's connected with your emotional health, your mental health. Like, fitness has a lot to do with all of those things.
Yep.
It's all connected. It's all connected. And I've really, really appreciated my fitness journey and where it's gotten me and how it's helped me in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I feel like we kind of talked about anything. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for any of our listeners, for anyone else? Some shout outs?
I'm going to shout out you and your gym, of course. Hey, you know what? Shout out to Cody, one of the, best trainers out there in Topeka, Kansas.
And by one of, she means the best.
That's true. The best. I would definitely say that. So yeah, I would definitely, I would tell people, like, please try your program. Like, it's life-changing, and it's a family here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're able to feel that, because
yeah,
we've really worked hard to be able to get to that point.
Right. Yeah. And even with me just doing personal training, I've just like meeting some of the people that are in the classes, and
people will just come up and start talking to you.
Yeah, start talking to you, and they're motivating you. And times that I'm usually complaining in the corner, people are like, yeah, and they're cheering me on.
Yeah. Poor Reagan.
Right.
So Reagan, for those of the listeners here who haven't, I don't think I've talked about Reagan really that much. Yeah. She's a new coach that we hired here, so she's in the tail end of her training, and so I basically started to follow her as she's coaching, and so she was coaching Tiffany, and Tiffany will do the work, but by golly, she will complain about it. And sometimes, I've never told you this, and I feel safe I can tell you this now. If I knew I wanted you to do something like 40 pounds, I would start with 50, knowing that you were going to negotiate, and you would negotiate down to what I wanted you to do.
Really?
Anyway. Oh, yes. I picked up on that very early on, because you always try to negotiate. I'm like, this is not a negotiation. She's like, I'm just going to start with more rounds, more reps, more weight, whatever.
And then, you know what?
And then when I settle, she's going to feel like
clever.
She's going to feel like she won, and in which case you are going to move how I want you to move. I got what I wanted, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, the only thing I wish I would have picked up on earlier is how to motivate you. Like the day that I told you, hey, if you get a certain number on these rounds, that I'll do burpees. That's the fastest I've ever seen you move in your life. I was like, I didn't even know that Tiffany moves that fast. Like, holy crap. Apparently, if I just bet her burpees, that's the way to get her to move. I know you
hate burpees, and so I was like, yes, this is payback for all of the pain you've put me through.
The good pain, come on now.
It's been good pain.
Good pain.
Of course it's been good pain.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is payback.
Yeah.
This is payback. I'm going to enjoy.
I'm sure Katie's going to get a kick out of that.
Right. I'm going to enjoy
I actually told him that.
Burpee, really.
That I always start high and negotiate down to what I wanted.
He did. He
just
not
laughed.
told me that. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Well, good. Then thank you, Katie. I appreciate that, buddy. And he just laughed. He's like, yeah, it's probably a good way to do it. I was like, yeah, it's a win-win for everybody, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. Yeah.
Sweet.
Because I was definitely negotiating. Like, maybe I don't think I can. And I always doubted myself. That's one of the big things is I doubted myself, and you always made me, like the time I hip thrusted 185 pounds. I was like, man, there is no way. There is no way.
And then you did it for like 4 sets of 8.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's how we do it.
So I appreciate. So you have motivated me. Maybe you don't feel that way, but yeah, you have.
Well, I appreciate that.
I was always going to do it.
Yep, that's true. You're just going to complain the whole time.
I'm just going to complain the whole time.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a great chat to have with you. I wish we could talk longer, but
I know. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
good luck in your next trip to Knoxville. Where are you going?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky. There you go. Louisville, Kentucky. So we'll keep in contact, and I'll see you in Nashville in November. Is that what he said?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, thank you guys so much for checking into our episode here, and we'll see you next time on the Max Out Your Life podcast.